Hello, this is Jenny. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. I have an art journal page video for you today, and this is minimal supply art journaling. If you don't have art supplies, this is a great jumping off point. I will be using this page I tore out of a magazine. I love the idea of the books and the library. It's just kind of right up my alley. I have also pulled out this paper, lined paper and book text paper, and it's scrapbook paper that I had in my stash, and these little library cards and typewriter that I cut out of a piece of scrapbook paper. I do not end up using the text paper and the lined paper though. This is one of my mixed media journals. I have a whole bunch of different kinds of journals. I find that I like spiral better than glue bound because they lay flat. Anyways, so I am going to put a layer of gel medium adhesive on, or gel medium, yeah, that's what it is, gel medium adhesive on this art journal page. And then I will also add some of the same matte gel medium to the back of the magazine page. I prefer Liquitex over like Mod Podge. I just don't like the smell of Mod Podge. But if you don't have gel medium or Mod Podge, use glue stick or Elmer's glue. Use what you have. I like putting a layer of gel medium on the back of the magazine page and on my art journal page. Wow. Because then I have a little bit of finagling room. I can put that page on and it will slide around for a few seconds before it kind of starts bonding together. So I have the ability to lay this down, get it as straight as I can or as straight as I want it, and then lay it flat and smooth the wrinkles out. Now, I did not smooth all of the wrinkles out on this. As I look at the art journal page, there are a couple of wrinkles, but I'm not superly concerned with that. I'm just not overly concerned with that. You can fidget with it a little bit and get the rest of the wrinkles out if that's what you want, but I was not concerned with that. I am going to take this little finger knife and cut off the excess of the magazine page. One thing I will say, when you are using magazine pages for art journals, make sure that it is for your private use. You cannot legally sell somebody else's photographs without their permission, and usually without paying a commission to do so. So whatever you do for your own art journal, perfect, as long as it's just for you. I am just going to go ahead and tear off these edge pieces that I have cut with that finger knife. It didn't do a great job right there against the coils and the spine, but again, not overly concerned with that. If I had wanted it super clean, I could have measured it and cut it down with a paper trimmer or something. The red plastic thing is a piece of a cutting board. I bought a cutting board at the dollar store and then cut it in half so that it would fit in between I can slide it in between the pages of my art journal, and then I don't get adhesive or ink or paint or glue or anything on the pages behind. I don't ruin the pages I have already finished. I am going to go ahead and add another layer of gel medium to the top of this page, just to make sure that it's glued down well, to make sure that if I add anything else to it, it doesn't smear or tear, but mostly just to make sure it's adhered down really well. It does make the page non-porous, so I can add some shading or blending if I wanted to. I am going to go ahead and heat set that or dry it with my heat tool. If you do not have a heat tool, you can use a hairdryer to dry paint and matte medium adhesives. You cannot use a hairdryer for embossing powder. Just keep that in mind. It'll just blow it all over the place. But you can use a hairdryer to dry the gel medium or acrylic paint or watercolor or anything like that. Just kind of take it slow. Be aware of how strong the air is that comes out of the hairdryer. Okay, now that this is dry, I am going to go ahead and decide what I want to do next. And this is kind of where I decided not to use the scrapbook paper and just to go ahead with my focal point. So I have pulled out this Distress Oxide. I think it's antique linen, or it could be, I think it's antique linen. And I am going to ink up the edges of this typewriter and those little pieces of paper that look like library cards. They are printed on a white core scrapbook paper. And I don't want that white core to show. It would draw attention in a way that is not what I want. I don't want you to be able to say, hey, there's the edge of that typewriter. I just want you to notice the typewriter. This little library card has a quote on it. And this is the quote I'm using for my art journal focal point. And it says, tell your stories. Own everything that has happened to you. Don't leave anything out. It's all good stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool, seeing that the background for this art journal page is a library or a bookstore full of books. Somebody's stories, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and ink these other two pieces of ephemera, is what I would call them. Images, pieces of things that you add to a scrapbook page or an art journal. Ephemera. It's kind of hard to get these up off this. This white thing is a waffle flower watercolor mat. And it's kind of this silicone stuff that theoretically nothing sticks to. But I can't get my fingernails to scrape the paper off of it. All right, so I decided to go ahead and take that same vintage photo or antique linen, whatever color it was, and ink up the edges, just because there was a little bit of white paper showing still. And I, again, don't want that to be the thing that you see the most. Just kind of blend the edges of that magazine paper out. Now I'm just going to decide what I want to do with my focal image. Like I said, I'm going to do 2 pages in this video, and they're both super simple and super quick, and it's a perfect place to start if you're new to mixed media or art journaling. And I've decided I want to lay these down, like with the green one, the red one, and then the white one with the quote on it, just because that green is not a color that's as prominent in the background as the red is, so it will kind of stand out a little bit. I'm just using a glue stick to glue these down, and I'm not even gluing them flat. I'm just putting glue stick on the bottom, I don't know, half or third of that piece of decoration, ephemera. So the edges will flop just a little bit, even after it's dry. And that's okay. It adds a little bit of movement and a little bit of, texture, fluff to the page. I am going to stick the entire typewriter down. I don't want that to move as much. And that is pretty much the page. So super easy. Find a picture in a magazine you like. Cut out some other images to go with it. Find a quote and boom, there you go. And I'm just going to kind of push that down to make sure the glue sticks. And then we're going to start on the next page. This is also a magazine page. It is a picture of a beach, which is kind of, everybody's idea of serenity, or most people's idea of serenity. I suppose if you've ever been stranded on an island, there we go. Those are the words. It might not be serenity, but I am pulling out these 3 acrylic paints. They're kind of like a metallic or a pearlized paint. And they are varying shades of green, aqua, blue. And I am just going to put this paint right down on this page. I have not gessoed this page. I should have, because normally that's what I do. If you gesso your page, it won't soak up as much paint. But again, we're going with minimal supplies. When you're first starting out with mixed media or art journaling, you might not have any gesso. So I am just going to take this wide brush. This is it's about an inch flat brush, a 1-inch flat brush. There we go. And I am just going to spread this paint around. I'm not trying to mix it very carefully. Like this one is a really dark green. The other one's more of a light aqua. The third one is more of a blue. And I am just brushing them on this page. I don't want to mix them so they all make one color. I want them to all stand out in their own. I want you to be able to see all of the colors, if that makes sense at all. Like I said, if you have gesso, putting gesso down before you start is preferable. The ink doesn't soak into the page as much. But also the middle of the page, not as important as the edges, because we are going to be covering up the middle of the page with that magazine paper that we cut out. And I'm just going to go ahead and make sure there's no clumps of paint on this, and make sure I can see all 3 colors. This was kind of like the most tedious part of, tedious? That sounds like a weird word. Tedious part of this page. I'm kind of trying to blend those colors together just a little bit more. That's all. Nothing major. You can use any kind of paint you want. You can use cheap dollar store craft paint. You can go all out and buy acrylics, which, you know, I don't. Artist grade acrylics for art journal page is probably a little bit of overkill unless you're using them for something else. I do have some that I use, but it's because I've used them on other things. I, again, am going to dry this with my heat tool, and you can see how it's all shiny, and that's because it has that kind of metallic or pearlescent finish to the paint. I got these paints on Amazon. They came in a set of about, I don't know, 8 or 10 paints, and they all have this kind of pearlescent metallic finish. Now I am going to decide where I want to put this page. Do I want it exactly in the middle, all the way to the top, you know, wherever? And I decided just kind of right here, I'm going to try and create a frame around it. Again, I will be using my Liquitex matte gel medium, and I will put some on the middle of the page and then some on the back of the magazine paper so that I can slide it around and get it into the position that I want it to be in. I am not sure where I got these images from, to be honest. I had a whole bunch of magazines donated to me because I was helping with a project with the girls in our church group. And all the ladies that I knew at church brought me any magazines they had so I could cut out pictures to make art journal pages with the young ladies in our church group. And you can see that this paper is a little bit thinner. It is curling up on itself. I am able to roll it out. This paper did wrinkle a little bit more. I think that part of that is that it is a thinner paper, but also part of it is that it's on a not gessoed page and that the paint itself kind of has some layers to it. I am going to go ahead and put some gel medium over the top of this magazine paper and also just underneath the corners and edges where maybe I didn't have enough adhesive to begin with. One thing that you can do with magazine pages like this is put them straight down on the page and then pull out your acrylic, your craft paints, your acrylic paints, whatever paints you have, and kind of match the colors around the edge so it looks like it blends together. I didn't want to do that. I just kind of wanted to go with what I had. I will go ahead and dry that gel medium. I want to make sure it's nice and good and dry and not sticky before we move on to the next part. So we're literally almost done with this page. I have some clear sticker paper that goes right through my laser printer and an inkjet printer. And I printed a single word in kind of a 1.5 inch tall by, I don't know, 3 inch wide label, I guess. And you can get it, I think I got mine on Amazon, but I know I've seen it at like Office Depot. It's just clear sticker paper and it's made for inkjet printers. I just sent it right through my printer. I did decide before I was done here, I wanted to blend that cloudy top in just a little bit. So I pulled out another one of those paints. It is a kind of a dark gray. And I will mix that dark gray with the, I think it's the medium color that I used on the background page. And just kind of mix that together and blend that top edge in. It's just a little bit too stark for what I was looking for. Just kind of wanted to blend those clouds in just a little bit. Now, it doesn't blend perfectly because the magazine page is not metallic and the acrylic paint I'm using is metallic, but it does kind of give it that dreamy edge. You know how in movies when they show somebody's having a dream, it's got like that unfocused edge. You know, the edges, the peripheral are all unfocused. So it kind of gives it that kind of dreamy kind of look. And that's all I was going for. Just kind of blend out the white edges of the magazine paper and give it kind of a a dreamy feel because the beach is dreamy. A long time ago, okay, not that long ago, a few years ago, the beach was stressful for me because I have little kids. I am finding as my kids get older, the beach with my family is not the worst place we can go. There is still that worry because my kids aren't all grown, but it's not nearly as unrestful as it was when my kids were all really little. So here is my quote, and it is just the word breathe. And again, I printed this on a clear sticker paper. I bought it from Amazon, but you can probably find them anywhere. It goes right through your printer. I've used it on my laser printer. I've used it on inkjet printer. And it's perfect. So I'm just going to lay this down. It's okay that it's a little bit shiny because my paint has that kind of metallic sheen to it. And there we go. So here are a couple of close-up pictures of the art journal pages that we made. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and try it out. Find a magazine picture, find a picture online, print it out, and create your page. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you have a great day. Come back next time.